Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today I'm sharing an 11 by 8.5 layout and playing along with Strip Tease, the scrapbook way. This is a challenge or a hop. I guess it's a challenge hop by Christine Harden, my twin here on YouTube that I do the twin series with. And she runs this hop here and it's using up your branding strips. Sorry, lost my train of thought. I have 49 Market I pulled out, which is Vicky Bouton Flower Emporium, because Vicky Bouton is probably the only border strips that I really save, along with 49 Market, which now Vicky happens to be a part of 49 Market. So I decided to go ahead and pull out this collection. I have one more cowboy photo of my son. This one is a 3x4. And I'm going to show you everything. I'm pretty much going to use a little bit of everything except for the stickers, the ones that I just showed. I don't pull out any stickers. I do pull out a title from this one. I believe I will show you what it's going to be, which is Stop and Smell the Flowers. And I just thought that was kind of cute and fitting for the photo since he's sitting out in nature and just looking cute. So here I'm going to show you the rub-ons. I'm going to actually use quite a few rub-ons on this layout. And I really love the way that this layout turns out. I did leave a lot of the footage in. I did speed it up, but as I've said before, I'm not a very fast scrapbooker. So it might not look like real time for some of it, but it really is. Or it might not look like it's sped up, but it really is because I'm very slow. But I really enjoy doing the layout and I enjoy sharing how to create a layout like this. So here I'm showing you quite a few of the barcode strips. I end up only using the green, the darker blue, the lighter blue, and one more. Um, no, I think that's it. The lighter blue, the darker blue, and the green. And then I use the one off of this particular paper right here. I'm going to use this one as the background, but the opposite side. This one here, I end up not cutting into at all. It will just go back into my Vicky Bouton stash. It does match perfectly. I think I'll show his photo on it. The color blue actually looks really good, but I just decided not to use it. I end up going with this one here with the flowers, which is unusual for me to use flowers on a boy's layout, but again, I really enjoyed making this layout and I like the way that it turns out. So here we're going to get started on the layout. You can see I already have it cut down to an 11 by 8.5. And I cut it so that those flowers will stay in the corner, and that's going to be part of the embellishments. I've already inked up the edges with black ink, and I'm going to get started putting the layout together. I'm going to start out first with this barcode strip right here, and I'm going to place it across the top. I did cut it with decal edge scissors, so it looks like it was tore. And that's just a detail that I like, especially with 49 Market, because it's already kind of distressed. I did show those stamps, but I actually forget to use those stamps. They get put to the side, and I'm almost done creating the layout, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not going to stamp on this layout after all, because, yeah, it didn't happen. I matted my photo in white cardstock and then used the darker blue cardstock to create the larger photo mat. And that was because I had more of the lighter blue rub-ons than I did darker blue rub-ons. So I decided the darker blue mat was better. And then I would use the rub-ons behind it to make it pop. So as you can see, I cut that rub-on in half. I'm going to add half at the top, half at the bottom, and I am using a stick that allows you to rub the rub-ons on, and some of the time I just use my fingernail. 49 and Market rub-ons are very good, and you really don't need to use anything but your fingernail pretty much. They rub on really good. So here I'm adding the blue. Most of this one is going to get covered up with green here in a minute, you'll see. But in the close-ups and in real life, you can see the blue popping out from behind it. And I'm okay with it. I like the way that it turned out, so it's okay. And then, like I said, here's the green one. I'm going to place it right over the top. I could have moved the blue one so that I wouldn't have covered it up, but I would have had more of it poking out. But like I said, it's okay. Hindsight, I wasn't really paying attention and I should have been, but it's okay. Like I said, I like the way that it turns out. So here again, I'm just adding the green one. A lot of the colors on the layout are just going to be green and blue. And then pops of the black and the like tan beige color. And I think it looks really nice with his photo. And like I said, in the end, I love the end result of this layout. So this one here is a black, like wordy rub-on, and I'm adding it right on top of the blue rub-on. So I'm going to do that at the top and the bottom. And then I believe I'll come in and add more green up the left and the right side. I decided I wanted it to go all the way from the top to the bottom and just have those green circles. So that's what I'm doing here. And I just cut little strips of that green rub on so that I had enough of it to go at the top and the bottom. And I guess that's probably the best way to use rub-ons is just to cut them and then rub them on wherever you want them to be, because otherwise you're wasting them because they're underneath the photo or somewhere where you can't really see them. So I like to cut them and trim them up and just use them where I can see them. And this is kind of repeating what I said yesterday's layout. Yesterday's layout used a lot of 49 and Market rub-ons also, but like I said, I have a lot of 49 and Market in my stash, and I love it. So I really need to use it more. So that's why I decided to go ahead and create this layout and play along with Strip Tease. Also getting, a few of the barcodes that I think are really cool on the layout and getting them used. I don't use barcodes very often. Sometimes, honestly, they go in the recycle bin. Unless it's a full one all the way across the 12 by 12. And I also really like it. If I don't like it, I will honestly toss it in the trash because it's not something I'm going to go digging for to use unless I use it on the layout at the moment that I'm creating that particular layout with that collection. So here I'm adding more rub-ons down here at the bottom, and these ones are all, there's little blue, little green, black wordy bits, and then I'm going to add this chipboard piece that says love this, that's black down there at the bottom. So all the pops of black are going to be around the layout, and basically it's going to go in 4 areas, not 3, which usually 3 is better, or so they say, but this one actually has 4. And it has 2 that are pretty much the same size diagonal from each other, going both from the top to the bottom and from the top right to the bottom left, and then from the left top to the bottom right. And I like the way that that looks. I think it turned out really cute. So here's another rub-on. This is one of the larger ones that was already kind of layered up with the tan and the blue and wordy bits. And then I went and layered the strips on top. So I cut those down to pretty thin. They're probably about 1/4 of an inch or so. I did cut them with decal edge scissors, the green and the lighter blue. The darker blue was already scallop punched, and that one is not a barcode. That is actual paper. But since I had those strips that are, I think they're about 1/2 an inch, not 1/4 of an inch, but roughly they're scraps. it's okay. I went ahead and used them. Hopefully, this goes along with what Christine is trying to do, which is I think she's just trying to use up her barcode strips. And her challenge was to use them in a unique way that points to the photo. So either, she said arrows or some kind of, uh, what do they call that? Not a spiral, or yeah, kind of like a spiral, like a pie chart, basically having the strips come out in a circle, or um, something like that. I decided to use them like this. And I know it's more the rub on than it is probably the barcode strips, but I used them and they're on the layout. And I did use one complete one at the top of the layout. So it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with it. And I love the challenge of just anything to get you to use your products that you have in your room. I think that's a great way to get layouts created and create different unique ones for your album. So then everything doesn't always look the same. That particular rub on right there, I messed up. I went to rub it and the rub on moved and it rubbed onto the backing of the paper instead of on the layout. So I had to fix it because it's not going to be completely covered up and I didn't want you to be able to see that cream colored paper underneath instead of the tan. So I just cut another rub on and I'll probably regret that later on because when I go to use those rub ons, it'll already be cut, but I'll make it work. I decided it was more important to go ahead and use it on this layout and complete this layout. So there you can see I went from large all the way up to small, and it's going to be perfect for the title to fit in that empty space that you see at the top. Over here in the left hand corner at the top, I'm going to add this it's like a coffee ring circle that is a rub on, and I'm going to add it up here at the top. And I didn't need the full circle, so I cut it so that I could make it a little bit thicker just because it was a little bit thin. And then this other one over here at the bottom, I just added in just to add a little pop of that blue over here because it is a little different blue than the blue that it's right next to up at the top. But that blue is in the background of the second rub on the that I used over on the right hand side. So I was okay with adding the other blue, but just so you know, that's why I went ahead and added it down there at the bottom also, just to give another little pop. And then I also added those little uh, I guess they're like larger splatter bubbles almost. I added a few of those up by the 9, and then I added them also down at the bottom by Love This, and then I'm going to add them up there. No, I already did. Up by the second to the top barcode uh, little area. So here I'm just adding more of the rub-ons that I already cut and I just have laying around. I'm basically just trying to use them up so that they don't go back in the package kind of half used. Probably because either they'll get messed up or I'll just forget about them. So I decided just to go ahead and add them on. These cute little flowers here were from the chipboard. There is one that is ephemera, but most of them are chipboard, and I'm going to add one at the very top on the smaller little strips, and then two, and then three. And that was the perfect amount. That's what I had from the chipboard set that I had. Plus, I had the ephemera piece from, I believe, a scrap room kit. I believe I got like a small section or selection of this particular kit. So I pulled one of those flowers out, and then I have the little chipboard leaves, which I'm peeling apart so that they're thinner versus chipboard because I'm already popping up the flowers. So I wanted the chipboard to be able to slide underneath, and you have to peel the chipboard apart in order for that to happen. But it's okay, it works out. So I'm just adding those, and now I'm going to start adding my title. Again, that is Stop and Smell the Flowers, and I just think that's cute. I love that saying, so I really like the scripty font that Vicky Booten uses. I believe it's her own handwriting, actually, and I just like the way that it looks on layouts mixed in with regular font also. So you can mix and match. And what I'm doing here is weeding out like the little pieces in between the letters. They were not weeded out. So you still have little black pieces inside of there if you don't take them out. So that's what I was doing there. And then I have these little three black, they almost remind me of weeds, or like the weeds that are in the picture with him. So I decided to add all three of those over here in the left-hand corner. And I'm also going to add his name here in just a minute once I get done playing with all these rub-ons. Um, these was more little like black, uh, what is that? A font is what that one is, a little scripty font. So I added it up there at the top of the 9 also. And again, it was just to use up that rub-on. And here, these are Doodlebug letters, and I have just enough left to spell out his name. So I just decided just to put Julian down here at the bottom. And it is on the chipboard piece and on the like little, it's an ephemera piece that looks like the tan rub-on on the right hand side. And it's okay. I went ahead and used a lot of liquid glue on it so that it would stay in place, and then pressed it down, and you can see the white glue at first, but it dries completely clear, which you'll see in the close-ups. I'm going to hold it up. I did bring in some sequins from my stash. Those are all from Spiegel Mom Scraps. And I just added blue, green, and black sequins. And again, I added it in 4 spots, but not up by the number 9. And that was just, I don't know why I didn't add any up there, but I didn't. But there you go. There's some close-ups. I hope you enjoyed today's layout. I definitely enjoyed creating this layout, and I love the way that it turned out. And hopefully I'll be playing along again with Strip Tease, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!